What's up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome to Season 1, Episode 5 of Rise. We've all got our junk. Today we are talking socioeconomic status as it affects dating between Lillette and Robbie, the impact of divorce on Gwen, and sexual harassment in the workplace with Lillette's mom. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Just try it.
Oh, another sad, slow song. Welcome, everyone, to Episode 5 of Rise. So excited to talk to you guys about some really intense themes this episode, as always. But before we do so, let's introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Becca.
Hey guys, I'm Chae.
What up, guys? It's your boy Jay Yang.
And I'm Mina Wahab. And let's just get right into this. And, what are your overall thoughts of this episode?
I thought there was a lot that happened. I'm sad that in last week's episode, I was sad in last week's episode when they ended on the cliffhanger of, looking for Gordy. So I'm happy we got to that, right away.
Mm-hmm.
I just think there's a lot that happened in the episode, and it was good.
They threw everything in, yeah.
They did.
A lot
All
of
the
different
drama.
character dynamics. And
Some love moments between our faves.
What about you two? You want to go first?
Sure. I loved this episode. I felt like there was so many things going on, from just the whole, them finally making out on stage, to the whole Karate Kid dynamic where it's sorry, she's from the wrong side of the tracks and you got to be focused and all this other stuff, to I learned a new vocabulary word that you can actually use to pick up a chick. It's called luminous. Right? And if you guys watch the episode, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I just thought overall it was a good episode. I felt that it was probably one of the stronger ones of the season.
Me too.
Totally agree.
I loved it. I had all my moments, especially both my couples that I'm really excited for to see where they go, and on stage, off stage kissing. Just worst voices to you in high school. Seriously, high school is can be really fun and kind of reminds me of that. The shows it can be all intense drama, but it can be fun and corny and cheesy, and I love it.
Yeah, it was good. I want to get into Lillette and Robbie specifically. I know there were two relationships you were excited about. I was really excited about Lillette and Robbie.
Me too.
But we kind of get into this whole theme of socioeconomic status, and sometimes people say it's not a big deal. Other times it's a huge deal because you can't really relate to someone in the same way if you don't have the same struggles as them. So it's kind of like the Princess Jasmine and Aladdin trope we have here. Kind of someone who has everything handed to them and is a little bit more sheltered, and then someone who, well, I don't want to say Robbie's sheltered, but then someone who's kind of rising up and works really hard and has a different set of circumstances. Do you think socioeconomic status affects dating in today's society?
I don't think it should, and I think that the fact that Robbie's dad brought it up was a little, I don't know, tacky, so to speak. But, I think they can learn a lot about each other versus, talking about what they've been through growing up and how they've grown up, how Lillette has to work in the cafe as a waitress. Yeah, I was like, wait, what's the word?
As a waitress.
As a waitress. And how Robbie he doesn't necessarily get everything handed to him, but everything comes easier for
Star
him.
quarterback and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like I can kind of get where the dad's coming from, right?
Mm-hmm.
The dad is just trying to protect the son, because he doesn't know Lillette very
Debatable.
well. All he's basically doing is trying to protect his son. You're on a scholarship, you're on your way to football. We don't want any distractions whatsoever. But then again, when you're in high school, it doesn't really matter. When we're in high school, we're not sorry, you don't live in the same area code, you don't live in the rich neighborhood, I can't date you, right? It's you can't help who you fall in love with.
Yeah.
That is true.
I agree.
Oh, go ahead.
I said this, I think the second episode, I don't think he's going to stay on the team throughout the season. I think there's going to be a moment where he quits football.
Yeah, and if you guys saw the preview for next week's episode, you have that dilemma where it's you got to choose between football or drama.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like actual drama, not just.
Yeah, not like the drama that's already happened,
Theater.
but you got to choose between
Got
theater.
it.
Sorry, like come from drama, theater. You guys know.
I got
You guys
you.
know what I'm talking about.
Theater.
Theater.
For me, like I said, I think it's debatable whether his dad is doing it in what's Robbie's best interest, more so what's in the best interest of his dad, and to keep his son on the path that he laid out for him versus what Robbie's path, what he wants his own path to be.
Right.
So that's a debatable comment just to make me.
as a kid, like, do you really know what your path is? Right? When you're like 16, 17,
As an adult, do you really know what your path is?
That is also
Does
true.
anyone ever
you know what
what
you
their
want.
path is?
You know
I
what you
mean,
want, and that's the difference.
Things
Want and
change.
need.
Yeah, things change.
I mean, Maria Menounos was doing entertainment news and then got a brain tumor. And after that happened, she wanted to reassess her entire life and what mattered most to her. She actually talks about this in her podcast a little bit. Have you guys heard about her podcast?
I mean, I think we
Yes.
have.
Yeah, I think we've heard about it. Do you
Yeah.
want to tell
Yeah.
everyone about the podcast?
Want to have fun, learn, and grow in all areas of your life? For those who do, have we got the podcast for you. Conversations with Maria Menounos, Podcast Edition, is hosted by our very own AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. Conversations with Maria Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews, along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects, which is awesome. I mean, from health and wellness to career, relationships, finances, and more. Let our Maria be the big sister you and I have always wanted. So all you guys have to do is just go to iTunes, subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free, and be sure to rate and comment. And when you do, let Maria know that the Rise panel sent you there. Conversations with Maria Menounos, Podcast Edition. Check it out.
Boom. Yeah.
Boom.
The mic.
And Maria talks about this. You know, her dad was a janitor in the different nightclubs, and you know, she had to work really hard. It's not like she had this life of luxury. She worked really hard to get where she is today. So yeah, like back to Lillette, when you know, Robbie was saying like, oh, your mom's like just a waitress. Like, what does she actually want to do? You know, it's kind of offensive because I get that line of thinking. It's kind of like, oh, like in his mind, he's kind of like, oh, you should want more and you should want X, Y, and Z and go to college and do this and do that. But it's like her mom has done so much already. Like, kind of, she had a circumstance where she had a child when she was 17 years old, and now she's been able to provide for her daughter. And what else? I mean, that's like
it's
the
such
best
a
of her ability. She's not a
privileged-
bad mom.
No.
It's such a privilege. Like when you say something like that, like it really just shows me of like how oblivious you are to the rest of the world, because there's a lot of people who are like that, right? You have single moms. Is like, should Lillette be faulted for that?
Right.
You know?
I think the Robbie thing where, like, when he said that, I think it was coming from a totally innocent place because he's a kid and he's trying to understand Lillette and her circumstances, how she grew up.
And his,
But he's doing it in an interview style.
No, but his dad put that little bug in his ear.
Yeah, and he's a
and
kid.
the dad put a bug in Lillette's
See?
ear, so they both come from different side of what his dad came around.
So it
And
goes
started
back.
it.
It goes back to what we were saying before. Remember how I said like, you know, kids, they don't know their own path. But
Yeah.
you guys like, he does know his own path. So it's kind of weird to see. It's like both parents are kind of trying to like protect their kids.
Right.
But then again, I do agree that they need to find out on their own. And I feel like they're definitely finding out on their own, especially when they were on the rooftop and he gave this like
That was so
romantic,
It
like,
was so
I want you
sweet.
off the stage. I want you
Justin
on the
loved
stage.
it.
I want you right now.
Which I was like about to barf.
No,
Oh,
Justin
no.
loved it. He ships them. You guys, he
I was
really
like, I
ships
wish
them.
I was on that roof. I wish
think
Robbie was
they're
talking to
so
me.
Cute. Like, I don't think
Okay.
most high school guys are the way Robbie is. Like, Robbie is just, I feel like he's
has a way
self-aware
with
to a
words.
certain degree. He knows when he does something wrong, and instead of being passive-aggressive or, you know, not owning up to his mistakes, he immediately apologizes and tries to remedy the situation. He's not one of those kids who are just like, I'm sorry, and then repeats the same behavior. He's legitimately the kind of person who's like, I'm sorry for what I did. I wasn't aware that I did this, and I'm not going to do this again. And he genuinely means it. And I think that takes a level of maturity.
I just like that he's the star quarterback and he's not full of it at all.
Yeah, he doesn't fit into
Yeah.
that.
He doesn't fit
into a box.
Because
per
I mean,
se.
that's the thing. So that's what we were talking about in the last week's episode. Like, is he really like? He doesn't look like a star quarterback. Like, he looks like a drama kid. I'm sorry, theater
Acting.
kid acting
Acting
like a
like a
star
jock.
quarterback. So
Yeah.
it really parlays to next week's episode where it's like, oh, like what is he gonna do? Maybe that's what he's always wanted to do. But like we said, he's just trying to live through his father to try to play football.
Right.
So I'm super excited for next week's episode.
Me
We
too.
did find out something that kind of answers your question from last week. I think you were the one who was asking if Robbie's dad left his wife
Oh,
when she
yeah.
was sick, and you know,
that was
for,
my question,
you
and
know,
I'm like, I feel
Lillette.
validated.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know for sure that it's accurate, but we can say with a lot of certainty that, well, with a high degree of certainty that Lillette kind of bashing Robbie and saying like, oh, as if you have the perfect family. Your father left when your mom was sick and has a new
Douchebag.
wife. And it's like, we don't know the exact circumstances surrounding that, but we can kind of, you know, infer that Robbie probably told her this during a moment of vulnerability or closeness, and for her to just kind of be like, boom, like, this is the ammo I have against you because you came at me. Your life isn't so perfect. Don't judge me.
that little speech thing.
It wasn't. I'm like, she's hurt the fact that, you know,
Yeah.
now he's judging her mom. Like she can say, I think it's that thing, like, you can say whatever you want about your parent, but nobody else has the right to pass judgment on your parent but yourself.
She was just sticking up for her mom.
So it's like more of a defensive thing. Like, and then she's like, I do have this information, so I'm not going to strike you back and make you, and actually make you take stock of the fact that your life is not perfect. Your dad, especially, is not perfect.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, we don't know that he left his wife because she was sick. Maybe the timing happened like that. We don't really know the exact circumstances, but we do know with another couple, with Gwen's parents, that they definitely tried to make things work for their daughter.
No.
Yeah, he definitely stayed in that relationship.
That's a two-person relationship we're talking about.
That's true.
Then that's my issue.
I kind of agree.
He definitely tried.
Well, we don't know.
Mom didn't try nothing. She was so angry she could not let her anger go, and that was a problem.
Well, we don't know if he ever took steps to try to be a better husband, though. We just know that he stayed in the relationship. We don't know if he actively tried to do things like to make her happy, or if he just tried to not do things that would make her upset. And there's a big difference between doing something to make someone happy and to be a better husband versus just not doing bad things that would trigger someone.
My guess-
Totally different scenarios.
That is true.
My guess is that he just avoided being home because the football
That's
stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
He just wanted to.
Can we
coach
talk
kids.
about just how like they basically broke it down and it was like, I want to let you know, yeah, your mom and I are gonna total stranger. It's like not even in the privacy of your own home. It's like imagine if like your parents were telling you that like, yeah, this random stranger. I'm sorry, you don't really care about my feelings, but yeah, we're gonna get a divorce. Like, okay, cool, great. I was like,
Because your therapist now has to become my therapist.
exactly right. I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, you know, sure, everybody can know.
Was that her first
so
time
bad for
seeing
Gwen.
Joyce?
I think that was the first time, like, I don't know if she even knew her parents were seeing a therapist. Maybe
Yeah.
she did, maybe she didn't. But she was just like, thank you for inviting me to just talk to this perfect stranger. And not knowing, like, my feelings about this situation at all.
Mm-hmm.
However, do I feel the parents made the right choice? Yes. Do I feel bad that Gwen's hurting right now?
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's hard.
However, I'm still in the stance that it takes two people to try to make a marriage work. Maybe he did try at the beginning and then she kept pushing him out. And so then it was just became what you said, like an avoiding to make you angry. But she stayed angry. She's still angry. She's still pissed. You can tell. She doesn't want to be touched. She
Really
doesn't-
hard to get over something like that. That
I'm
is
not saying it
ultimate
ain't.
betrayal.
I would love to hear what the people watching have to say. So definitely comment in the YouTube section, comment in the iTunes section. What do you guys think about this?
Tweet us.
Or anything, you know, we're talking about. But I want to know what you guys think about the way that, you know, the divorce was kind of brought up in front of Gwen. Because I'm curious to read your comments.
Also, I do want to know from you guys, is cheating a non-negotiable in a relationship? Can you take someone back after they've A, either emotionally cheated, or B, physically cheated?
No.
Because there are two different types of cheating with
Yes.
different types of impact, both clearly
And
hurtful.
men and women totally react in different ways.
Yeah,
you know?
true.
Totally. As a guy, if a woman cheats, I'm sorry, physically, I can't handle that. But if a woman, I know that doesn't really, okay, he was drunk. But if they say, well, you have feelings for another girl, that even cuts deeper.
But there's also
Oh,
a
yeah.
difference. I mean, there's so many dynamics involved. Like if a female in a heterosexual relationship cheats on her boyfriend with another girl, it's received differently than if she were to cheat on him
That
with
is
another guy.
absolutely
There's
true.
so many different
But it
dynamics
can't be
involved.
conceived as worse.
Sometimes.
At times,
For
yeah.
some guys.
Because
But I'm
it's-
just saying there's
almost
not like a
emasculating,
clear, definitive
you know?
answer. It is sometimes a case-by-case basis. But for me, like, I can't envision ever being okay with someone cheating and trying to make it work after that. That's just how I see things. Because if things were that bad to begin with and you decided to find an external source of pleasure or happiness because you couldn't deal with this, it just makes me think that if we ever get into conflict later down in the line, you're not going to know how to handle that, and you're going to seek an outside source to deal with that type of conflict instead of working on it together. And, you know, a relationship is a partnership. Like you said, it's not a one-way street. So
Please comment. We definitely
yes,
want to hear your
you-
comments on this subject.
we definitely want to know.
I think that going back to a significant other depends on like the person and how the person thinks. I don't know.
Do you
what
want
past
Gwen's
experiences
parents to work out? Like, or do you feel
I
like
mean,
there's
no,
nothing that
like,
can be done
I feel
at this
like
point?
it's dangerous for Gwen if they, at this point, if they like keep going and try to work things out and then it doesn't work out and she gets her hopes up for nothing.
I wish we had more background as to like what really happened and why the marriage wasn't successful, because we only know the downfall of the relationship. We don't know if they were ever in love before. I mean, like, what type of love it was.
Maybe we'll find out later in the season.
Yeah,
You gotta
flashbacks.
watch.
Flashbacks for sure. But it was nice that they kind of had, this sounds so messed up, it was nice that they kind of had Gordy as a distraction temporarily from their horrible lives, that they were kind of doing
Like, focus
Gordy
on this
a favor.
alcoholic kid.
Because
Yeah, we have our own problems.
In a way, it kind of, you know, I think it's going to kind of be like this this way for Gwen and Gordy to become closer, because Gwen
definitely.
has seen the dark side of Gordy and has seen her teacher, Mr. Mazzu, in a totally different light. And, you know, now Gordy knows about what Gwen is going through. I definitely think that there's something there, and I think they can both be there for each other during their times of need.
Well, and neither of them really trust their parents right now.
Yeah.
Completely,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
They're teenagers, so, you know.
I mean, what do you think about Gordy's parents and their style of parenting? I mean, do you think they finally came down hard when they enforced the new rules? Because I was like, this is just like standard. Like, this is the bare minimum you should be doing.
I mean, the breathalyzer was actually really smart. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
that's-
trip. I actually thought that was impressive.
Yeah.
I cannot lie. However, I don't know if I was his parent, you're like, I need to put a track on you. Like, F
It's-
that. Like, there is no,
yeah.
like, I need you to text me. No,
it's
I'm
on your iPhone.
No,
It's called
no.
Find
Find my
Friends.
friends. Find my
No,
friends.
It's the
No.
creepiest thing I've ever seen.
I'm
I
not finding
don't like
anybody.
it. I don't like
'Cause
it.
I'm your parent. I'm not
Here's
your friend.
here's the thing. Here's like when I look at this, like I feel like it's. I've noticed this dynamic, and I've noticed with a lot of like immigrant parents, like there's no negotiation, there's no talking to you like an
Yeah,
adult. It's like you
for
are
sure.
getting you're getting whooped. Like you are getting a belt. You're getting something. But it's
I
like, but a lot
relate.
of the white Caucasian, you know, parents that I've seen on TV, it's always like, okay, like I'm gonna talk to you like you're an adult because you're acting like an adult, and it's like, what do you think we can do to resolve this? I'm like, bro, he's your son. He messed
He's
up. You got to do
a high
something.
schooler.
And he's a high schooler. He doesn't know any
Yes.
better. They're gonna mess up. I'm like, why don't you do something? But it's like, it's okay. Like, we're gonna take steps.
get
And I'm
that.
like, come on.
But I always say if
man.
I were to have kids, I would want to raise them that way, kind of like with that Western, like, we're going to talk this out. We're not going to do spankings. We're not going to hit you.
all
Okay, at the
timeouts for
same-
you, right? All timeouts for you. I'm like, okay, we're gonna timeout.
Let me
think-
time out that though. I'm sorry. No.
I like that. I think it's better to be diplomatic. It's just obviously not working in this case.
Okay.
They're
okay.
gonna walk all over you.
There's two things for that for me, for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So if
You believe in beating kids.
I believe.
Got that.
No.
Here at AfterBuzz, we do not advocate
do not
beating
advocate
people.
However, I did grow up in the 90s. My excuse is I turned out to be a very good person, not like because of the spankings, whoopings, beatings, whatever you want to call it, that I got because I knew
Corporal
what I did
punishment.
was wrong. However, I want to find a balance between being diplomatic but still reminding them I am not your friend, I am your parent. And if you're not going to get in line and this me talking to you is not working, maybe another type will get you in line. So I'll start diplomatically and then I'll work my way back to the old school.
I just imagine you with a taser being like,
I know.
what did you say?
I don't know. I don't tase. I'm gonna go do switches. I'm gonna do like a belt. I'm legit. I'm gonna go old
that's
school. I'll go old school with you.
Anyways,
Okay.
Speaking.
Oh,
Anyways.
we definitely got
okay.
off track with this one.
Speaking of Gordy's parents, we got a comment last week on YouTube
Okay.
from Caroline Taylor. Thank you for coming. She says,
Oh, I love her.
I'm
Yeah.
starting to really dislike Lou's wife. The way she
Oh my
talked
gosh.
about Tracy to Lou, saying she needed to get a life and have more adult company, came off as so judgy. Thank you so much for for the comment, Caroline
Yeah.
Taylor. But I mean, what do you think about the parents and their dynamic with just their kids
I don't like
and everything?
that they came in.
I kind of get where
Gwen's house
Caroline's coming from. I saw
screaming.
that comment, and I
Yeah.
do agree with that. That the wife was kind of being like that. But for me, it almost felt like it came from a place of like, why are you spending time with this lady? Why is Tracy calling you?
She's a coworker.
I think it's more that line
Yeah.
than it is about like her trying to
It's
be
not,
judgy.
yeah, like
Why is she
it felt
overworking?
more like she's kind of like playing up like, oh, like you should have a life. But I don't think she genuinely believes that. I think she just wants her husband for her
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
stop being like dragged down by like the play stuff and like with all this other stuff. She's kind of like,
I-
come on, focus, family.
It comes from a good place, probably. Yeah.
I just think their dynamic is like they have those moments where you obviously can tell they're very at a disconnect. Like they're disconnected from each other.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got the moments like this episode when they're actually united front and like they just touch each other and like and they show that united front. You're just like you
This
can.
was the first time
can
I saw
see
the
it.
united front. This was the first
Same.
time I saw the united front, and that is so important in any relationship. You
It
can't
is.
have one parent saying
No.
one thing, the other
No.
saying another. That's why divorce happens. Is when you
Well,
because
that's why
then
there's
then
fights.
children learn how to manipulate the parents. Like I knew when I was a kid.
You sound like you're talking from experience.
No,
I'm like, how do you know
when
that?
I was a kid, I'd be like, "Wait, Mom, can I go to this person's house?" And she'd say like, "No."
Ask your
I'd be
dad.
like, "Dad, can I go?" Okay, cool. And then
Yeah.
like that's not good. Like
then your parents
the
are fighting.
parents should
Yeah.
be in like
Absolutely.
solid communication. Like no good cop, bad cop. Kind of like we are a team. We are a team, and like we're not gonna let the kids not see us as a team because then the kids lose respect for the parents and think
Yep.
that they don't have to take anyone seriously.
Exactly.
True.
Totally agree.
I do as well. I mean, they could have handled the beginning scene in a better way instead of.
I respected it.
I
That was
mean-
just me.
I mean, I think it was nice seeing them lecture Gordy for what he did wrong, but they also could have waited to yell at him for another time when there wasn't an audience.
I mean, I don't think they care at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah,
Like,
at that
imagine,
point-
like, being up so late, not knowing where your kid is.
That's true.
Having them act belligerent, you know, having, like, this repetitive behavior of them not being responsible, not taking you seriously, complete lack of respect, complete lack of discipline. And not only that, it's less the lack of the respect, and it's more like, we're so worried about you. Where are you? What's going
Yeah.
on? Like, imagine that happening. Like, if you had a kid, or like even with your cute little dog over there, like, if you didn't know where your dog was, like, wouldn't you freak out and wouldn't you
Yes.
be so upset and be like, where
Oh,
did
no,
you
no,
go?
no, no. I was
Feeding,
freaking
feeding.
out
No,
about
I'm
where
just
he
kidding. I'm
was.
kidding
That's why
about
I was
that.
freaking out about the
Yeah.
cliffhanger.
I don't think any of us are
Last week.
parents yet. Not
No.
I mean, not that I know of. I mean, there might be kids, you know, out there, but not that I know of so far. But I feel like it's like the whole
baby.
thing where it's just kind of like people, you're just, you know, you just kind of want to care and like, you know, and
Yeah.
like, even with the whole like, if you go to the pizza shop, I want you to text me. If you want to go here, I want you to text me, right? So it's just kind of like, I can see where they're coming from, but it's like their stance is kind of lackadaisical in the sense of where like they've been trying to talk to him like
weird
this
to me
and
that
nothing's
nothing's
working,
happened.
yeah.
Nothing's happened.
The fact that he said, like, wherever you go, we need to know. In my mind, I'm like, I always let my parents know where I was
Yeah.
when I was under 18.
But you weren't an alcoholic at 18
yeah,
or under 18.
no, that's what I'm
like,
saying.
right?
Like, I wasn't an alcoholic, and my parents still needed to know where I was. Like, I wouldn't just go out and not tell my parents where I was going. Like, what world are we living in?
Immigrant
like,
parents.
Yeah,
Immigrant
like
parents
I
have to
don't
know.
understand that level of freedom of being like, okay, bye mom, bye dad. Like, no, of
Yeah.
course they need to know who.
Yeah.
Even if it came to a sleepover, who are these people? Who are the parents? Where do they come from? What's their track record? What's their
know.
like personal like?
I still
Even
tell my parents
sleepovers were
where I'm going.
near impossible for me to have unless my parents personally knew the parents and knew
Oh, no.
everything about the family.
Yeah.
Oh dang. Well, okay, then
Yeah.
I was great. I had
Yeah.
My parents weren't like Gordy's parents, but it was very like
Gordy's parents are
hey,
lax.
I'm gonna be out till like 2 a.m, but I'll be home. Okay,
wish I had
cool, we
Gordy's
good.
parents.
You
Yeah.
know where I'm at. We good.
Yeah, I wish I had
I wish I had
Gordy's
Gordy's
parents. I wish.
I was like, I wish it.
They're
you know, and
so
then, and then they probably,
easygoing.
you know, Gordy's parents probably could have taught me the word luminous, which is probably my favorite thing
Yes.
of this, you know. And in the scene, like, I feel like, ladies, if a guy called you luminous, are you like, A, oh my God, I'm gonna like drop my panties right now, or like B, like what are you talking about? Like what is that
I mean,
supposed to
I
mean?
think I'd be more flattered by the term vibrant because vibrant
Vibrant.
sounds like
Vibrant.
it's more personality oriented. Luminous just reminds me of some sort of goddess that's like shining in the
Oh, I just think of
sunlight,
light.
and glistening.
No, I was gonna say luminous reminds me of like Harry Potter or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Lumos Maxima.
I mean, I wouldn't. It won't make me drop my panties, but it'll just make me be like, "Did you watch this on a TV show?" And if his answer is no, then I'm like, "Okay, I will take this." And
It's an
see where the
interesting
night goes.
word.
However,
He's an English teacher. Come on.
he's science. Oh, he's a science teacher.
He's a science teacher.
No.
Science teacher who knows
teacher.
English.
Sense
Never
for him.
mind.
But I'm just trying to think of what word. If a guy came up to you and just said you're amazing, like not amazing, but like what other words like better than luminous? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a word that like.
Ladies who are watching this episode, I want you guys to tweet us and leave it in the comments. What word besides luminous is a word that would make you swoon? Definitely.
Swoon.
Hashtag rise, hashtag luminous, hashtag rise after show.
How cheesy is breathtaking? Would you like
Oh,
cringe, or
I-
would you be like, "Oh, that's sweet,"
I would actually think that was sweet.
or mesmerizing?
Depends how long the person's known me for.
Because if they don't know you for that long and someone says that, I'd be like, "Oh God, like they don't even know me like
Yeah,
that."
if it's like someone from the side that's like on the side of the street or something. Like
It has to be a
was,
genuine.
Like,
it has to come
yeah.
from
I
a
just
place
met.
of
I
being
kid
totally
you not.
genuine.
I kid you not. I said this to a girl once, and she was really flattered. And what I said was, "Your face, I like it." And she started laughing, and it was just right. It's, you cut all the adjectives. I'm like, "Your face, I like it a lot." And she was like, I was like, "Oh, okay." It was just kind of taken back, but
just first grade level, you
yeah,
guys.
first grade
make me
level, your face, I
swoon?
like it.
That's I don't.
It's memorable.
You probably just had so much swag when you
Yeah,
said it
there's so much
because
swag. It's like, "Your face, girl, I like it."
like out of context,
Yeah.
I'm like that does
Yeah.
nothing for me. That feels like the
makes me
one
laugh.
compliment
I'm sorry.
that has no effort
Mina
put
wants
into
the
it.
like the
I want
rooftop
poetry.
Robbie like, "I want you now. I want this." I mean, every girl's. I mean, I don't know about every girl, but some girls just cut to the chase.
I need someone poetic and eloquent to just write me poetry and shower
How many
me with,
high
like,
school guys are
words of
elegant in poetry?
affirmation.
If
I
someone
would
the
say
time.
memorable. If somebody said you were memorable, I think that would make me swoon.
Well,
Like,
I would be like
memorable,
memorable in a bad way. Like, was I like?
someone's
like, was I?
no, I don't know something. Memorize? No, can't say
Memorable.
No, the other word with the ing and then memorize.
Memorizing?
Yeah.
Mesmerizing.
Mesmerizing.
What's that? Memorizing?
Mesmerizing.
Girl, you're so
the ing at the
you're
end,
so mesmerizing. Memorizing.
Oh my gosh.
It's like they're somewhere. But
I know.
Diallo, who actually plays Andy Cranepool, put up a poll today. So, what do you like better for their ship name, Trandy or Crane Wolf?
the second.
Crane Wolf. Hashtag Crane
Yeah,
Wolf.
the
What about
second.
I like
crazy?
that.
Like crazy? Crazy. I like that.
I-
Because they totally are kind of crazy. Crazy.
What I love is like how I think this is gonna totally like elevate. Like they're making out today, and next thing you know, they're gonna be caught. It'll be like workplace romance, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like it's weird because if you look at Lou's relationship, like he's talking to the Rosie Perez, and it's just kind of like one of those things which is kind of like your workplace wife, right? We all have it. Like you spend 8 hours with a person, and the person eventually becomes your workplace husband, your workplace wife.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested to see what's gonna happen for the rest of the season.
Speaking of workplaces,
Sexual harassment in the
Uh-oh.
workplace. This
Go
couldn't have come at a more
Mazzu.
relevant time with the whole Me Too movement and the hashtag Time's Up movement. Sexual harassment in the workplace is a thing. It's always been a thing. It's just now coming to the forefront. And I think this show did a really good job of tackling that. And we see this with Lilette's mom and how, she didn't stand up for herself right away, but it's also extremely difficult to stand up for yourself when you risk losing your job and you don't know how to act
Yeah.
and you don't know what to say, so you kind of sweep it under the rug until it reaches a point where you're like, wow, no, I'm not putting up with this anymore. And I think the catalyst for Lilette's mom was her daughter
Yep.
bringing it up because she just doesn't want to be a bad role model for her mom. So what do you guys think about the way she handled that? I mean, I didn't laugh as much as I did last week watching it. Like now, like this episode, it was actually intense. But when I watched the teaser for it, I was like, damn, yes.
that was me. I was like, yes. Like
Me too,
I
but-
felt amazing. Go
Me
ahead.
too, but it could have lasted a bit shorter than it did.
I feel like the satisfaction we get from watching her punch out a guy who's been groping her is amazing, but you got to think about the ramifications, right?
Yeah.
Criminal, okay, she just committed assault.
Yeah, that's why I could have
She doesn't have a job anymore, and who knows how easy it's going to be to find another job. It's a small town, everyone's going to talk. So in addition to her mom, Vanessa, being promiscuous, now she's like a crazy woman who like hits people. So, I mean, at the moment you're like, oh, it's great, but you kind of got to think about your consequences of what's going to happen, because sometimes people, they might not side with you.
Yeah, but
know?
I think for that moment, it wasn't like just the continuation of hitting him. It wasn't just him at that moment. It was everybody in that town, whoever said anything bad about her. It was like everything at once.
You think it was partial misplaced aggression? Not misplaced, but like
Not
part of it was like
a part of the extra
build-up.
anger.
Yeah.
Was out, like from like, and then hearing her daughter like say, "Hey, you let a guy like grope you, and you think it's a joke, and it's not a joke." Like I live here too, and like I think it's like all that at once coming.
Yeah.
But then he also tried to touch her again, and that also would have pissed me off.
It wasn't just him trying to
true.
touch her again that I found completely repulsive and disgusting. It was the fact that he said, "You know you like the attention." And that really resonated with me, because it's kind of like the mentality that a lot of catcallers have is they think that when they whistle at a girl, or when that was a weird snort that I just said, when they whistle at a girl or they do anything that
It's a compliment.
that, oh, they should like this, or they were dressed a certain way, so why would they dress that way if they didn't want the attention? And it's just kind of disgusting, but it's kind of, you know, what's wrong with our society and what's wrong with, you know, the way we teach some of our men to think, and a lot of men to think. I don't want to say all men, but like this is how a lot of people think. They think that it's a compliment, that you know, that there's nothing wrong with it. Our society has made it okay by not speaking out against it.
I mean, I definitely want to hear about the men and the women who are watching this after show. You know, what do you guys think about what Lilette's mom did? You know, was she justified? I mean, would you have done the same thing? Did you get satisfaction? Or maybe you would have done something else? And even all the guys out there who've done it, like, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear, like, did she deserve it? You know, is it not that big of a deal? So definitely
And
let
also,
us know.
guys have been on the other end of this as well. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to just say that guys are the perpetrators of sexual harassment and sexual violence. I mean, you know, we've seen this, like, maybe not as much because it's not as easy for men to talk about this. It's difficult in general for both men and women to talk about this. And it happens to everyone. It happens to trans men. It happens to trans women. It happens to everyone. But yeah, like, men have been on the other side of this as well. And I mean, if it were me, I mean, I think I would bring it up to a superior, because it would be really difficult for me to, I mean, I have confronted people in the past directly, but if it's a workplace thing, I think it's easier to confront the person in person first. And if it's a habit that doesn't stop, you bring it up to HR.
But what happens if you're in that diner, there's no HR, he's your boss, and if you bring it up to him, you'll lose your job?
Isn't there always someone to bring it up to?
Is there an HR at a diner?
I think
Like-
no. That's a mom and pop shop.
That's a mom and pop.
diner.
I mean, he's the
he
owner.
Owns it. He owns it.
Right? I mean, this isn't a corporate
Who do you bring it
environment.
up to? Like, that's
Him.
my question
Him.
then.
But that's also your problem.
Yeah.
So that's why for the Me Too movement, it's like all those women who, like, my hat's off to them, because
Yeah.
that is the risk that you have to take.
Right.
You know, which could cost them a role.
like, who
could
do you go to when
blackball.
Harvey Weinstein is your boss, and you
One of
know
the most powerful
you
men
work
in
there,
Hollywood.
you want to make it in Hollywood, you feel like it's your only out. Like, what do you do?
Exactly.
Don't sleep with you. But
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, I wouldn't, but I mean,
You're
it's
gonna get
just
blackballed,
none
though.
of us have ever
Yeah.
really been in that exact situation either. But
I mean, the thing that I loved about the Time's Up and the Me Too movement, but also things that like I really felt were just crazy. When people were like, I can't believe this happened. I'm like, have you never watched a film in your life? Like, it's written, like, people didn't write these scripts because it was fun, and they just thought, oh, we should, like, I need people to watch Working 9 to 5 with Jane Fonda, Dolly Parton, and some Lily Tomlin. Because that was original, like, workplace harassment in its finest.
yeah,
Like, but also what you said, like, when guys say, oh, it's because you dress like that. Well, I think as women, we really need to start just, like, I'm going to dress the way I want to dress. It should have nothing to do with how somebody else is going to perceive me, because I'm making myself happy. I think we also need to get into that mentality as women.
As the only male on this panel, I gotta say, I have to chime in that, yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, Chae. It doesn't matter what a woman's wearing. It doesn't matter. You could be wearing bikini next to no clothes. It doesn't give guys a right to harass you and to do that. And if I see a gorgeous woman, she's not wearing any clothing, I'm not gonna be like, well, you're kind of asked for it. I mean, look at you. Like, That's just the way that I was raised, and I know that there's a lot of guys out there who are exactly the same as me, where it doesn't matter, right? A girl could be wearing sweatshirts, sweatpants, covered in a freaking parka. Doesn't matter. Guys will sexually harass you. That's just the guy.
Yeah.
Right? And there's certain guys who won't.
And a lot of people don't understand that. They think that the way you dress
Has nothing to
is
do
an
with that.
invitation, when
Nothing
in
to do with
reality, rape in general is about power. It's not about just how someone is dressed or, you know, sexualizing that person. It's about, I want power over this person, so I'm going to do this to them. And a lot of that, like, it's like a psychological type of thing. But yeah, enough about, I mean, this is very heavy and we're talking about this. I'm curious to know, I want to know what will happen in next week's episode, because we know, like, this happened now. Let's get into some predictions really quickly. We saw a little bit of a teaser. But
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV
predictions. Yeah, we did see a teaser of, you know, what could happen to Lilette's mom. We find out that she doesn't really have a job anymore, and Lilette is going to have to take on a job and quit the play, and we kind of, like, see everything falling apart in the preview. Take it away, guys.
Just for me, Robbie most likely is going to choose drama, just plain simple. I'm super happy Simon's back.
Yeah, I was gonna say Simon's back.
And his mom, rep his mom for fighting for that. I appreciate it.
That came out of nowhere.
I'm kind of curious to see. I think Robbie's dad and Lilette's mom, they're gonna meet, and they're gonna have some sort of like
Something in
squabble,
common.
Something in common. They want the best for their kids. I personally think that probably Lilette's probably gonna get pregnant.
Don't.
With
What?
Why would you even
no,
say
no, no, no,
that?
no, no. I mean for the drama of the show, right? Because I mean, if you saw, they're getting
From
hot
kissing to
Hey,
that,
well,
right?
hey, high school kids, you never know. I mean, they're getting hot and heavy. I mean, I've done stage kisses, and what I saw was not a stage kiss.
I will attest to that.
They're-
That is not a
Hey,
stage
that was not a
kiss.
stage kiss.
I'm good. I'm still gonna go with they're just really good actors.
What do you guys think about that? Are they just good actors? So, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff going on, and I think, you know, Gordy's drinking is, I mean, he's not going to be able to control it, you know? Like, there's so much talking you can do. He's either going to kill somebody in a car, he's going to be severely injured himself, but, I mean, alcoholism does run in their family, and I know that Lou tried to, you know, tell him that, but sometimes it's like, you know, you got to learn the hard way.
Do you know what I think the hard way would be for him, though, as cliche as it sounds? I think if Gwen were to ever see the ugly side of
Yes.
Gordy while drunk, that
Yeah.
would be a wake-up call to him. And it's the worst way for something to be a wake-up call, but obviously better than a drunk driving accident. But I think that's, like, the one thing he has in his life right now where she's kind of like a foil to his character. Like, she's more open in a way and more sweet, and I don't know, there's, like, definitely something there, and I think that would be the one way where he would be like, I don't want to jeopardize this, I'm gonna get my act together. I need to be a rock for this person.
I was gonna say I think we mentioned it a couple after shows back, but I think Gwen is gonna help him before the point where he gets to like a terrible point where he has a car crash because of it, hurt someone. I mean, yeah.
Okay, well, those are our predictions for the night. Make sure to leave your comments about your overall thoughts in the comment section below. We want to hear from you, especially your thoughts on relationships, dating, treating, all the other stuff we talked about. And we will see you all next week for episode 6. See you guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.